Welcome. This is Penguins at the Opera, Life's Dream with Corky Siegel, number 40.
Welcome. Penguins at the Opera will gain significance as we move through time and space through this stream. So here's a couple tunes I did back in April. Here's the first one I'm going to do for you.
Remember April?
Yeah. Whoa. This is called Snake River Crossing, and it's about driving through mostly Idaho, Montana, and crossing the Snake River multiple times. You know, you're driving along and you see a sign over a little bridge. It says Snake River. And you cross it. A few minutes later, you approach a bridge. It says Snake River. You drive along a few more minutes. You approach a bridge. You see another little sign that says Snake River. And it feels like you're not getting anywhere. Very analgetic. What's the word? It's an analogy. It's
Yes.
an analgetic, not analgetic. I'm missing a word here.
Just make one up.
Yeah, it's very similar to life. That feeling like, am I just repeating this over and over? Sort of like Groundhog Day, except at least in Groundhog Day, the fellow is making progress. So this song is about, it's a driving song, but it's also a philosophical and psychological song about feeling like you're in the same place.
Deja vu all over again.
Yeah. So here's the words to the song, the poetry of the song. No matter where I go, I always end up in the same place. No matter who I try to be, it's still me behind this face. And my past shoots right behind me in my rearview mirror, and I aim my future right along the line. And I know I'm really getting nowhere fast as I cross that old Snake River one more time. There's an infinite highway rolling under my wheels, windshield wipers tired from the long hard rain, and I swear I was here just a little while ago, 'cause there's that old Snake River once again. At 69 miles an hour, I grip the steering wheel. Everything seems like it's moving, except my automobile. Like a cartoon background, it's spinning on by. And I see the same old scenes repeated from the corner of my eye. And if I wasn't running low on gas, I wouldn't be surprised as I cross that old Snake River one more time. The only thing that's giving you the hint that you're getting somewhere is you're running out of gas. You're getting older, right? That's the only thing. You look in the mirror and you're getting older and you go, well, I'm getting somewhere, right? Okay. So that's basically the lyrics of the song. And so here it is. It's a driving song, right? Yeah. In the same place. No matter who I try to be, it's still me behind this face. And my past shoots right behind me in in my rearview mirror, and I aim my future right along the line. And I know that I'm really getting nowhere fast as I cross the old Snake River one more time. There's an infinite highway rolling under my wheels, windshield wipers tired from the long hard rain. And I swear that I was here just a little while ago, 'cause there's an old Snake River once again. At 69 miles an hour, I grip the steering wheel. Everything seems like it's moving except my automobile. Like a cartoon background, it keeps spinning on by. And I see the same old scenes repeated from the corner of my eye. And if I wasn't running low on gas, I wouldn't be at all surprised, 'cause there's an old Snake River one more time. There's an infinite highway rolling under my wheels, windshield wipers tired from the long hard rain. And I swear that I was here just a little while ago, 'cause there's an old Snake River once again. No matter where I go, I always end up in the same place. No matter who I try to be, it's still me behind his face. Yay!
Hey, wonderful. Everyone have their coffee? Are you ready?
It's going to be story time.
It's going to be story time. Get comfortable.
Get comfortable.
Get your coffee.
Let's go over to story time.
I'm going to head over to the story time couch.
So I'm going to read this little poem to you. This was a children's poem I wrote in around 1973. I never read what I'm about to read you. I just noticed it was printed on these lyrics. And I never read this before, so I don't know what it's going to say, but I'm just going to read it. The brilliant musical arrangement was written by my late friend Hans Wurman, who was a Jewish composer, pianist. Actually, he was a Jewish everything. He was a Jewish composer, pianist, cellist, escaped from Austria when the Nazis took over the country. Hans pioneered the fusion of classical and electronic music, painstakingly transcribing orchestral works by Chopin, Bach, and others to his Moog synthesizer. He produced pop albums, including the Moog Strikes Bach and Chopin a la Moog, and also scored such movies as Bog and the Centennials of Silence. Bog and Centennials of Silence. He also served as music director for Chamber Blues for a few years until his death. And his late son Felix played cello in an early Chamber Blues lineup and recorded this version of Penguins along with late Richard Halagian, the sweet Richard Halagian, who is our violist in that group. So
until Richard passed away in 2002.
Exactly. Yeah. So here's the lyrics, the poem that I wrote, and then I'm going to play for you a version of what Hans did with this work. And I'll tell you more about it in a minute, but let me read the lyrics. There were penguins in the opera house, minks and sable too, pizzicatos popping round, well hidden from our view. I asked the maestro, chase them please. That sword in hand will do just fine. There were penguins in the opera house, and we were running out of time. There were penguins in the opera house. They were sitting on the stage. They were sawing on their violins. They only stopped to turn a page. The maestro waved and twirled and twirled and swirled his sword so bravely. How well he knew his trade. But the penguins did not bat an eye. They were not at all afraid. The maestro, mad with anger, slashed wildly at the air. But the snowbirds just sawed harder and faster, as if he wasn't even there. And when the crying violins began to scream, a sound I could not bear at all, I ran right up to save the day. Before they all were twice, I saw. The penguins dropped their weapons. The mink and sable shouted, "Throw the madman out at once!" The maestro dropped his arms and pouted. Now, I know you don't believe me as I sit in padded cage. But there were penguins in the opera house. I wonder who will wash the stage. So this is a conspiracy theory by this fellow who is swearing there's penguins in the opera house.
Okay.
And what I want to tell you is yesterday, Holly and I decided I was going to read the poem for you and make this a little poetry stream. I thought poetry slam was a little too violent. So I thought a poetry stream was more gentle. So I said to Holly, you know what? Why don't you do a couple drawings and we could show, a pictorial while I do the poem. So she began working on this one. You could see just a little sketch, and there's the opera house stage, and there's the conductor, and you could see the penguins look like penguins. They got short little feet. But we wanted it to be more of a morphine of penguins and musicians wearing tuxedos. So, Holly did this little rendering yesterday. There's little Mr. Conductor, and you could see the penguins. In fact, this one has like his feet dangling off the chair. I just love that. And anyway, that's that. And then she drew this Who Will Wash the Stage. She drew one for Who Will Wash the Stage. Little exit sign, the penguins. Anyway, so now we're going to show you a combination with Holly's drawings and Hans's genius. Okay, and so we put this video together for you today.
Let me get in position.
Get in position. I'm going to turn the volume up all the way. I want everyone to hear it, okay? So are you ready? This is the Chamber Blues, a recording in 1994, our first Chamber Blues recording. It was going to be for Alligator Records.
And it was?
And we did not include this one.
No.
Because Alligator Records is exclusively a blues label, and we did some crazy stuff for Bruce, but this was going a little too far. Are you ready? Here we go. Are you ready? Here we go.
There were penguins in the opera house. Minks and sable, too. Pizzicatos popping round, well hidden from our view. I asked the maestro, chase them, please. That sword in hand will do just fine. There were penguins in the opera house, and we were running out of time. There were penguins in the opera house. They were sitting on the stage. They were sawing on the violins. They only stopped to turn a page. The maestro waved and twirled his sword so bravely. How well he knew his trade. But the penguins did not bat an eye. They were not at all afraid. The maestro, mad with anger, slashed wildly at the air. But the snowbirds just sawed harder, as if he wasn't there. And when the crying violins began to scream, a sound I could not bear at all. I ran right up to save the day. Before they all were twice I saw. Penguins dropped their weapons. The minks and sables shouted, "Throw that madman out at once!" The maestro dropped his arms and pouted. Now, I know you don't believe me as I sit in padded cage, but there were penguins in the opera house. I wonder who will wash the wash the stage.
There it is. So Hans wrote the music and sort of created the idea of having the words actually go along in unison.
In meter.
Yeah, with the it wasn't easy to do.
It was very difficult.
But that was Hans's vision, just really beautiful. And let's see, what else can I say about it? Recorded at Universal Studios.
We were the last people there. It's a very, very famous recording studio with extraordinary equipment, and we were the last people in.
Yeah, and the equipment was falling apart. They weren't going to put any money into repairing it.
Because they were closing.
So we were running out of channels as we were doing the recording, but it all worked out really, really great. So that's our story time.
And Hans, I want to say, he was maybe 12 or 13, and when the Nazis came into his school, he was in a private school for gifted children, and the Nazis were just like grabbing kids, and they grabbed Hans to take him away, and they threw him against the chalkboard, and the teacher, risking his own life, yanked Hans by the arm and pulled him back away from the Nazi, and he said, "No, not this one." Hans was a child prodigy, and he was able to save him. So without that teacher, we wouldn't have Hans and all the delightful things he did. And he worked with Wendy Carlos as well, or was Walter Carlos, with switched on Bach and a lot of other things too. So
Yeah, and we wouldn't have Felix.
and we wouldn't have had Felix, no. Felix was a very gifted cellist with chamber blues. He studied with Jacqueline Dupre in London. In fact, that's why the quartet was called the West End String Quartet, because Felix had named it. So just a little bit of inside story.
So, and I'll tell you a little more. So, when chamber blues came together, it was never intended to be my band. I was just going to go to different cities and work with local string quartets. But when I played the music, and Arnie and Florentina and Dan Sturba and Felix heard it, they said, "Oh, you know, we want to be the band." So when Hans heard about this, he said, "I'd like to have lunch with you." And this was before I really knew Hans. He was just, you know, and he says, "You know, my son is really rambunctious, and he's going to be really difficult for you. I don't know that he's right for your group." And so anyway, I hired Hans on the spot as music director. And yes, Felix was incredibly rambunctious, and we loved Felix. And if he wasn't rambunctious, he wouldn't have been Felix, you know? Then we had so much fun and just loved him so much. And anyway, that's sort of the story of the beginnings of chamber blues, and there were penguins in the opera house. I'm going to do another song. This is on the Solo Flight album. Solo Flight. Let me show them the Solo Flight.
All right,
album.
all right.
Let's see. Solo.
I think it's on the top shelf, right there. Yeah, you got it. Look at all these CDs we have. You're welcome to.
Yeah, we need to get rid of these people. So that's Solo Flight. So my favorite piece of all, period, it's the one I'm about to do. And my friend Al Porth was playing flute, another late friend. But Jim Tullio played this amazing upright bass on the tune. It's just brilliant, just brilliant.
Yeah,
Here's
he did.
the
It's
lyric.
extraordinary.
It was a cauliflower morning. Hopefully I'll remember them because I have to play it. It was a cauliflower morning, all cast in gray and blue. You know cauliflower morning, do you know what that means? It's like when you see the clouds that look like sheep's wool.
Puffy clouds.
You know, or it could be upside down cauliflower, you know, so. It was a cauliflower morning all cast in gray and blue. You came with little warning through the daffodil and dew. The sun rose right behind me. My shadow fell on you. And my shoestrings came undone when you touched me, Emmylou. The rolling hills kept rolling, I swear they rolled away. The wind kept right on blowing till it finally blew itself away. My heart kept pounding. Let me in, I know you care. Then I melted into gravy with your fingers in my hair. Lying in magnetic fields, my heart went racing on an oval track. And when you wrapped your love around me, I nearly had a heart attack. Oh, Emmylou, 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 Emmylou. I'm so attracted to you. Is this really real? Come on, Emmy. What's the deal? was a cauliflower morning, all cast in gray and blue. You came with little warning through the daffodil and dew. The sun rose right behind me, and my shadow fell on you. Then my shoestrings came undone when you touched me, Emmylou. The rolling hills kept rolling. Oh, I swear they rolled away. The wind kept right on blowing till it finally blew itself away. My heart kept pounding. Let me in, I know you care. Then I melted into gravy with your fingers in my hair. gold. My heart went racing on an oval track, and when you wrapped your love around me, I nearly had a heart attack. Oh, Emmylou, 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 Emmylou. I'm so attracted to you. Is this really real? Oh, come on, Emmy. What's the deal? What's the deal, Emmy?
We'll see you all on the Zoom at noon. You can catch Corky on the Zoom at Corky Siegel.com.
No, Corky Music.
Corky Music.
CorkyMusic.com/stream.
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 And you can join us there.